Truth, or Sacca, is the seventh parami, and it is a very important one. Although a culture may be able to get by for some time without virtues like patience or generosity or renunciation, a society that has made untruthfulness and lying commonplace would corrode the very foundation of trust upon which everything functions and prospers. Businesses, communities, politics, and even individually in our personal relations. Without trust, cooperation and progress become nearly impossible. In Buddhism, the concept of two truths recognizes two distinct levels of understanding. These are known as conventional truth and ultimate truth. Conventional truth merely relates to the world as we perceive it. It is the reality of appearances and phenomena. This includes the realities of other dimensions of nature and that are not fully liberated nor free of illusions and cosmic laws. Science excels at explaining and addressing problems, phenomena, and symptoms, but it often struggles to uncover the root causes of problems. This is because higher truths often transcend the realm of scientific inquiry. Ultimate truth, on the other hand, refers to sunyata, or shunyata, the profound intrinsic emptiness that permeates everything and is the source consciousness of the universe. This is the state of inherent non-existence in which all that remains is the single, unified conscious awareness in the entire universe, in all of existence. There are also more specific ultimate truths that are considered so because they abide by laws that are universal and unchanging. There's the truth of dependent origination, which states that everything is interconnected by causes and conditions. There is the truth of impermanence, which states that all phenomena are constantly changing and impermanent. There is the truth of non-self, which states that there is unchanging self, or rather, there is no intrinsic, permanent, unchanging self or ego. So our sense of self is a mere mental construct. And there are the Four Noble Truths as well, which Buddhism is most preoccupied with. These are the truths of suffering and its causes. And then there are the Four Noble Truths, which Buddhism is most preoccupied with. These are the truths of suffering and its causes and deliverance. At the level of conventional reality, the mind of any being is conditioned by ego, what are known as khandhas in Pali. These are psychological aggregates that filter or specify and condition consciousness. Therefore, perception is subjective. Any being with ego has a specified conditioned consciousness, which is subjective. So truth becomes a relative term at this level. The only mundane truths or right view is that the majority of people on earth can actually agree with, more or less, are concepts that involve math, science, numbers, and other kinds of facts, since it's very hard to deny concrete information like this. But even very obvious, undeniable things are yet still denied or received with disbelief from those whose khandhas, and I believe in Tibetan samskaras, have made them stubborn or irrational, ultimately delusional. What is acceptable for one culture may not be for another. This is another thing about relative truth. Gas engines may be applicable in this era, but obsolete in the future when we've shifted into electrochemical technology, into the electrochemical era of compact nuclear reactors. So for navigating the uneven waters of conventional reality, the Buddha advocated that we always base our truths and judgments and perceptions on facts as much as we can. A major part of this is due to substantial influence that emotions have on our sense of judgment. He also advised that we don't believe anything until we have carefully analyzed it by means of reason and meditation. Scriptures also teach a very important practice called dhamma vichaya, which is the habit of scrutinizing scripture and personally investigating phenomena using whatever methods one has. And each time we discover a truth, wisdom is attained. In the Gnostic movement, the appropriate synonym they use is comprehension. So it means to deeply understand something to the point at which our mind changes fundamentally, and a level of liberation occurs. You cannot be wise if you do not see the truth, and you cannot see the truth if you're not wise. Wisdom and truth are therefore entwined. And the difference between understanding and comprehension is that understanding tends to be intellectual, whereas comprehension is deep enough that not only do you understand something factually or technically, but you are willing to make a change or to stop a bad habit. And that's why it's so deep, because with understanding, you might understand that something's bad, but do it anyway. So comprehension is wisdom.